Hey there, it's Wednesday and time for another AAA session, Ask Alyssa Anything, where I'm answering all your questions about the publishing industry and how to write a better book. I've got my trusty sidekick Luca behind me, so I'm excited for today's session and I know it's going to be a good one. We have some amazing questions today and I wanted to just give a shout out to everyone who is asking questions in the comments. All of you are incredible and I love seeing all of the engagement with these sessions. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join this amazing community of writers. And while you're at it, please hit that thumbs up button to help my channel out. I also have a free resource I created specifically for my YouTube community. It is called my free story self-assessment worksheet, and it's a fun, easy way to take fresh eyes to your manuscript and see things in your story that maybe haven't bubbled up to the surface for you yet. If you're feeling stuck on your draft, this could be a really great exercise for you. The link is in the description below, and signing up for it is going to also opt you in to my newsletter, where I publish exclusive interviews with publishing industry experts and published authors, so you don't want to miss out on that. I also have a link to go directly to the newsletter if you'd like in the description below. Let's kick off with the first question today. If an author is about to query an agent and he/she sees that the agent has not sold a book since 2019 or so, is that a red flag? I suppose a better question might be, how often do successful agents get their clients' books published? This question has not been asked before, so this is a really great one to tackle. The answer is, it's not necessarily a red flag if it's been a few years since the agent has made a book deal. There are a couple of factors at play here. First, the publishing industry is notoriously slow moving. That also goes into deal announcements. The main website for publishing industry deal announcements is Publishers Marketplace, and it can take months. I've heard of it taking a year to actually announce that a deal has been made on the website. I'm not entirely sure why it takes so long to get deals posted on the website, but it does take quite a while. So there could be a delay in that. So it doesn't necessarily mean the agent hasn't made a deal, it just hasn't been posted yet. Now, what if they truly haven't made a deal since 2019? Even in that case, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a red flag. It's possible that the agent was on hiatus. Remember that agents are individuals often working for themselves or working on a small team. They work based on commission, so their work ebbs and flows quite a bit. It's also possible that right now they are really investing in the editorial side of their author relationships, meaning they could be spending most of their time working with their clients on strengthening their manuscripts, and those manuscripts just aren't quite ready to go out to editors at publishing houses. I would also say if you are concerned about not seeing a recent deal in an agent's profile, that is totally something you could bring up to them when you have your follow-up call to determine if you are a good match or not. I really do encourage authors to ask any and all questions that are on their minds in these agent conversations, because you want to go into this partnership on the right foot. And if you have any concerns at all, the right agent is going to be eager to alleviate them and make you feel reassured and confident in your partnership. So it's absolutely something you could raise to them. Here's another agent-related question. Since there's only one chance to query an agent, what's the timeline you recommend in terms of how many submissions should go out at a time and how to balance dream agents with practical ones? There's no magic number for how many queries you should submit at a given time, though many authors follow the batch method where you send out about 6 to 12 queries at a time, then wait a few months to see if you get any responses, potentially iterate on your query, and then send out another batch of 6 to 12. Now, within those batches, how do you balance what we call dream agents with more practical agents or agents who you aren't sure if they're a perfect fit or not? I want you to move away from the idea of these dream agents. I know it's really hard to, but more and more I'm seeing anecdotes online from authors who have gotten representation saying that they were actually surprised by the agent they signed with. It wasn't necessarily the person who ticked all the boxes when they looked at their manuscript wish list. It wasn't necessarily the person who represented one of their favorite authors. Because remember, there is so much more that goes into the agent and author relationship, and a lot of it comes down to rapport and communication style. which you can't know until you hop on the phone with an agent prior to signing an offer of representation. I really would encourage you to keep an open mind. If the agent represents your genre and their agency is reputable in some place that you could see yourself working with, then go ahead and send that query. They might surprise you. That agent might come back to you and end up being your dream agent, even though they weren't someone who on the outside you saw as your dream agent. Here's another question. Have you ever considered breaking into the agent game? You already have the connections, not to mention an intimate understanding of an author's writings through your editorial services. At the time, I don't plan to become an agent. It is a career path I absolutely considered. I worked at an agency for several years and I loved the team and I loved the work, but at least at this point in my career, I really do feel like an editor first, whereas an agent is really a deal maker and a talent professional. What I love is diving into the nitty-gritty of a manuscript and helping authors fulfill their vision for their story. That excites me a lot more than the networking aspects that go into agenting, but I really appreciate you asking, and I appreciate that you consider me someone who you would trust as an agent. Who knows what the future has in store, but right now I'm super happy with what I'm doing. Here's another question. Can you speak about the genre of memoir when it comes to publishing, how it's possible to query with an unfinished manuscript, query letter versus proposal? So memoir is the one genre where it is a little bit tricky and you can query pretty much either way. Either with a full complete manuscript akin to what you do with a novel query, or with a partial manuscript written with a full proposal as you would for a nonfiction book. Because memoir kind of straddles both genres, right? It is nonfiction, but it is narrative in the style of a novel, specifically first-person novel. So if you are in the position of not having finished the manuscript, but you want to go ahead and query, then go down the proposal route, compile all of those materials and some sample chapters, and go ahead and see if you get any bites when querying. For memoir, agents are really going to be looking at what the core of the narrative is, what the overarching themes are, and what you are bringing to the table as the author/narrator. All of that they can evaluate without you having completed the manuscript yet. If you're on the other side and you have already completed the entire manuscript, then go ahead and query with that as you would a novel. I've really seen it done both ways. Different agents might have different preferences, so also make sure you do some research online for the agents you are considering submitting to and see if they require a full manuscript or a proposal for memoir specifically. We have time for one more question today. This isn't an important question, but I'm curious. If an agent requests a full, does it pass through an intern assistant like the query does, or does it go straight to the agent? First, I would say that this is an important question. It's important for authors to know who is reviewing their manuscript and how the publishing industry works, so don't discount that. The answer, though, is it depends. Some agents don't even have assistants, and they manage their queries all by themselves. Other agents work extremely closely with their assistants, in which case it is likely that the assistant would be reviewing the manuscript either with them or as a first pass before they review it. In those cases, I want you to understand that the assistant is really acting as the agent's eyes and ears. They are deeply trained in what the agent is looking for, what the agent's requirements are, their tastes, and so they truly do understand whether a manuscript is ready for the agent to see or not. That's all to say that they are highly trained professionals as well and in their own right, so I don't want you to feel discounted if you get an email from an assistant rather than from the agent, because they truly do know what they're doing. And their feedback, if they give you any, can also be helpful. The truth is that in many cases, you're not going to know if the assistant reviewed your query or if the agent themselves reviewed your query. So I would just go ahead and push that out of your mind as much as you can and trust that the decision that is made is the right decision for both you and the agent. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions today. If you have a question you'd like to ask, drop it in the comments here and it will enter my queue for my next session. As I said earlier, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button while you're at it, grab that free story self-assessment worksheet waiting for you in the description below, and check out my newsletter link if you're so inclined. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.